This is Novak Djokovic, the best tennis player of all time. In 2023, he made just under $16 million. This is Scottie Scheffler, the best golfer in the world at the moment. He's on some Tiger Woods shit right now. Last year, he broke the record for the most amount of money made by any golfer ever in a single calendar year. He made $21 million on the PGA Tour. Does this man need any introduction? He is the current Premier League player of the season, and last year he made $45 million. On this channel, we discuss the money at the top of the sport, and as you can see, there's a lot of it. But have you ever wondered what it's like for someone who's not at the top of the sport? Not top 10, not top 50, but 100th. I have. My name's Jordan, and today we're going to understand what it's like for the 100th best player, and we're going to look at it from three main sports: golf, tennis, and football. First though, we have to determine who the 100th best player is. Fortunately, that's a bit easy to do in tennis. At the time of recording this video, the 100th ranked tennis player is Fabio Fognini, the Italian clay court maestro. Fun fact, the first ever tennis match that I ever watched was Fabio beating my man Andy Murray in a Davis Cup match in Naples back in 2014. I remember thinking, this guy's gonna win a lot of tournaments. He's also a very stylish guy. And he did. He's 37 now, but last year he made $1.1 million on the ATP Tour, and a third of that came from his doubles ventures. He now plays doubles as well as singles. Interestingly, outside of the older, more well-known players between 80 and 100 in the tennis rankings, I wasn't too familiar with many of the tennis players. So I started to look into their career earnings. Emil Ruusuvuori is 25 and so far in his career has earned just under $4 million to date. Aslan Karatsev is a bit older. He's 30 years old, a bit more experienced, a bit longer in the tooth. He's earned over $5 million in his career. Of course, Stan Wawrinka, Grand Slam champion. He's 39 and has made $36 million in his career so far. There is a blend of people, whether you're old or young, high career earnings or lower career earnings, between the 80th ranked player on the ATP Tour and the 100th ranked player on the ATP Tour. But what this tells me is that if you are 100th or thereabouts as a tennis player, you will have a fruitful career and your earnings will be sizable. Tennis is quite an unforgiving sport. There's a lot of players below the 100th ranked players who are struggling to make ends meet. There's a lot of travel. You've got to pay your coaches, you've got to pay nutritionists, and you have to pay your managers. You have to hope for a good run at a Grand Slam to make a decent dent into your career earnings or win some Challenger or Masters events. If you don't, some tennis players who are the best in the world at their given sport make less than your average person who has a 9 to 5. It's scary. Shout out to Fabio Fognini. What an excellent career. Now, let me tell you about this man, Scottie. I mentioned before, last year he broke the record for the most amount of earnings on the PGA Tour in a calendar year. He was murking everyone. The scary thing is, his run has continued into 2024. At the time of recording this video, he's already surpassed his record for the whole of 2023 halfway through 2024. He's already at $27 million in earnings this year alone, and there's still 3 or 4 months left. But what about the 100th best golfer in the world? Meet Harry Hall. British man, 25 years old, and only his 4th season as a pro on the tour. Have a think. In 2023, which was his 3rd season on the tour, how much money did he make? The answer is $1.5 million. Again, not bloody bad. The crazy thing about golf is how variable your earnings can be. This is a list of all the tournaments that Harry played from May of last year to the end of the season. Now, for those who are a little bit unfamiliar, golf is typically played over 4 days. Half of the course goes home after day 2. If you're not in the top half, see you later, no money. If you're in the top half, you earn money and play the full 4 days. It's called the cut. Hall didn't play very well at the Wells Fargo. He missed the cut, made no money. The week after, he finished 83rd at the Byron Nelson, making $17,000. However, the week after that, he came 3rd at the Charles Schwab Challenge, making $513,000 US. Not bad for 4 days of work and finishing 3rd. He carried that form by finishing tied for 34th the following tournament, making $47,000. The form continued the next tournament where he made $46,000. Then missed the cut. Nothing. Next tournament, 23 grand, tied for 60th. But after that, he missed the cut. Then he missed the cut again. Then he missed the cut again. He made 24 grand at the Fortinet Championship before another missed cut. You're starting to see the variability in golf. To close the season, he tied for 26th, tied for 21st, missed the cut, then missed the cut again. Make no mistake about it, $1.5 million is an amazing amount of money for any person to make in any job in one calendar year. The good thing is, just recently, Harry Hall won his first PGA tournament, making $720,000. However, as you can see, golf is so up and down. Shout out to Harry, British man, right at the beginning of his golfing career. I'm watching your career closely. Now, football. As you know, it's difficult to truly understand how much football players earn. With tennis and golf, career earnings and prize money is open, it's public. With football, everything is more subjective. So, before we dive into the football segment, take the numbers with a pinch of salt. Use the numbers as a benchmark rather than the actual specific numbers themselves. Also, I don't care if you don't agree with the rankings. Blame 442 magazine. They had Erling Haaland, the Premier League Player of the Year, as number 1 last year, and Sportico said that he made $45 million in salary in 2023. $45 million in a year. That's $3.75 million a month. That's $937,500 a week. But what about the 100th best player? Interestingly, 442 had that as Sergio Busquets, one of the most decorated midfielders of my generation, and in my opinion, one of the greatest defensive midfielders of all time. Fortunately for me, he now plays for Inter Miami, and in America, salaries are public. How fortunate. Inter Miami signed Sergio Busquets as a designated player, which means they can pay him outside of the salary cap structure. He made $8.7 million in 2023. Again, not bad for being the 100th best player. There's 2 interesting things about that number. The first is that is actually significantly less than what he made in his prime playing at Barcelona. Also, he plays football in Florida. In Florida, there is no state tax, so he will take home more from that $8.7 million than he would if he played in New York, for example, or in LA. Such are the regional differences of playing in a different city in America that we don't really get here in the UK or in Europe. The conclusion from this being, if you are the 100th best footballer in the world, you will probably be quite famous and you will make a lot of money. The 100th best footballer makes way more than the 100th best tennis player and golfer. Similarly, the best football player makes way more than the best golfer and the best tennis player. However, being top 100 in both golf and tennis is still fantastic for earning potential. Also, you'll probably have some level of anonymity to you and travel the entire world. There is a massive underbelly of players just beneath this, maybe from 150 to 250, really struggling to get to the top 100. Keep pushing, keep going, because if you do, the earning potential for you is fantastic. And if you're fortunate enough to finish your playing career playing at Inter Miami in South Beach or Fort Lauderdale, salute to you. If you're interested to see how Inter Miami rose to power, click here. I'm Jordan. Subscribe to the newsletter if you've enjoyed this video.